Alright, so I got a spicy one here today. This is a deck heavily inspired. Once again, this is the second time I've done this on this channel, but this is inspired from a deck that I saw from legacy content creator Bosch and Roll. He's pretty popular here on YouTube if you're in the legacy space. And a couple weeks back, he did a pretty interesting deck around Obosh the Prey Piercer. Obosh is a really interesting card, one of the companions, and his requirement is that your deck can only have cards with odd CMC. So with the exception of lands, obviously, which have no CMC to begin with, so they can't be positive or negative, or they can't be even or odd, rather. And basically, how he works is he doubles the damage output by your odd CMC permanents, which obviously your deck is going to be full of. So it's kind of an interesting deck building restriction because you can't really build your deck in a way that has a smooth curve. Like you're not going to really be curving out with like your even mana turns. So what you kind of need to end up doing with these kind of decks is generally play the things that are somewhat overcosted and are going to have the largest effect on the game. So the way that I decided to do this was to kind of just look through the color pie and see what types of colors have very strong creatures. And as it turns out, there are quite a lot of good creatures in white and green. Additionally, because Obosh is red or black, I took a look at red and black and decided that ultimately black was the one that had the things that I wanted. And there are a number of reasons for that. So let's kind of take a look at things from each CMC slot. We're running a one of Giant Killer in here. This is a lot of the times an include for decks that want to play a longer game, and just having a 1/1 with useful abilities to be able to deal with big creatures. Having this instant to destroy a target creature that is really big is also pretty good of a thing to have stapled to it. We also have Evolved Sleeper. This is something that when we don't have mana on our turn 2, we can kind of just, when we have extra mana in general, we can kind of just sink it into this thing and make it more valuable. It even can help us draw cards later down the line. Knight of the Ebon Legion is a creature that can get bigger. Both Evolved Sleeper and Knight of the Ebon Legion do get bigger. And, this is going to be really good once we inevitably get an Obosh out. They'll be able to hit for much harder than, a typical 1/1 would be able to. Gilded Goose, just here to ramp. We're in green, so we might as well play this. In the 3-drop slot, we move on to some other interesting pieces. We have Urza's Silex, which is a kind of an interesting card here. As I was brewing this deck, I was looking at the 3-drop slot and wanted to figure out what kind of board wipe options I had. There are things like Temporary Lockdown, which wipe the board, but those are kind of a non-bow with our creatures. And with Urza's Silex, what we can actually do is we can kind of wait for a point in the game when it's going to hurt our opponent more than us to cast or to activate Urza's Silex, and then we can kind of just let it go there. And assuming that we have the mana to do so, Urza's Silex does have a secondary condition on it where when it goes to exile from the battlefield and destroys everything, you can also pay an additional 2 to search for a Planeswalker and put it into your hand. So the aftermath of a Urza's Silex going off is each player has at most 6 lands, and you potentially have this extra Planeswalker in your hand, and that is going to be able to potentially be the thing that runs away with the game for you. So the Planeswalkers that I decided to put in this deck are one of Kaya the Inexorable, a Planeswalker that is just pretty solid. If there are creatures already on the battlefield or something that you can cast from hand, then Kaya is going to be able to make those things come back and be reused. It also can remove problem permanents when those come onto the battlefield, and so she's just generally kind of a good thing to get going. Plus, her -7 is the ultimate thing we're trying to do in this deck, where it'll only take us 2 turns of protecting her in order to get an emblem that allows us to cast things out of exile and our graveyard. Also, we have Kaya Intangible Slayer. You've seen her in some of my last videos. She is an absolute banger of a closer card if you can get her out. 6 mana to begin with and has a +2 where you're draining your opponent for 3, which is really powerful. The only issue with her is that you see that she costs 7 mana. So with our Urza's Silex only allowing us to keep 6 lands, we can really only search for her in a situation where we have enough mana to begin with, where we can float the extra 2 in order to pay into Urza's Silex to cast her, or sorry, to find her. And then we need to have another land in hand, untapped preferably, that will allow us to get her out on the following turn. So kind of a lot of things need to be going right in order to Kaya out, but, you know, we're going to try it and see how it works. If we just draw her in the endgame, though, she's just pretty good. Like, we'll need to have 6 mana in order to get Urza Salix out, but if we just have a Kaya in hand, we can just wait until we find that 7th mana, and then we just get to cast her for free. And presumably we'll have creatures to stand in the way. And speaking of creatures, we do have a lot of them. Let's go back to the creature list. So back in the 3-drop slot, we have Brutal Cathar. This thing is just absolutely nuts. Great card. It can repeatedly remove things if our opponent is not playing, you know, multiple spells a turn. It's pretty freaking good. Graveyard Trespasser, kind of a similar card to Brutal Cathar. This one hits the opponent's graveyard, and generally we will be able to take a lot of good cards that our opponent may want to interact with in the graveyard out of their graveyard. Then there's Lovestruck Beast. This is kind of a throwback to when Eldraine first came out. The adventure decks were actually pretty powerful, and a lot of the decks in Standard were playing Lovestruck Beast because at a 3-mana 5/5, it's extremely well costed. And even at this point in Historic, I think that there's a pretty good spot for this thing, just beating over and over. When we go to the 5 slot, you'll see from the top down we have Obosh, 3 more copies in here. I kind of just want to play this card, if I'm being quite honest. So that's enough of that. We have Invasion of Tolvalda, a card that you've seen me play a lot of decks with. This thing allows us to bring one of our value creatures back from the graveyard. And if for some reason we are able to flip it, then it turns into a late game threat that can win the game for us. And then the meat and potatoes of this deck, or the kind of combo, so to speak, is Thrun, Breaker of Silence. So this is an interesting card. 5 mana 5/5, already pretty good. Uncounterable, which is pretty important. And it also has Trample, so it is going to be getting through. It also basically has hexproof from non-green things, which is really interesting. And the big kicker for this card is that it also has Indestructible during your turn. So what we can do with this card is, if it's on the battlefield, we can cast something like a Doomscar to wipe the board and then just get in with a Thrun. This might be the difference between immediately flipping an Invasion of Tolvalda or not, which is pretty cool. And then finally, if we're talking about overpowered, very valuable cards, you can't go wrong with a couple of Elder Gargaroths. 5 mana 6/6, 3 keywords, and an attack and block trigger. I mean, you don't get much more value than that. Mana base is our just standard Abzan colors, and with that, that is the entire deck. It kind of seems like a pile of value, and that's because it is. It is hopefully going to bury our opponents by playing spell after spell of just powerful magic cards. Alright, so that was our Obosh mid-range deck tech. Real quick before we hop into the games, if you've been enjoying the content, you can show your support by dropping a like on the video. It's the easiest way to support this channel. And if you are new here and want to see more videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, subscribe to the channel and you'll get that stuff. So let's hop into round 1 here and see what we can do with our Obosh Abzan mid-range. Here we go. Okay, round 1, let's go. Let's see, what do we think about this hand? Lovestruck Beast in the opener is pretty strong. This is something that has been kind of known since Eldraine, is that Lovestruck Beast is just a pretty solid turn 1 and turn 3 play in of itself. So we are going to test if that is actually true today. Sigarda's Aid is a very bad sign for us. We'll drop an Indatha Triome out, and we're going to be able to get 1 attack in here before they put something into play and drop a hammer on it. We have actually lost the game if they play... Oh god, is this going to be an unblockable creature plus hammer? No way. Hexproof... Oh no, it's just this ram. Okay. Well, we're going to want to block that thing now. I do get to cast a Lovestruck Beast. And I need to make sure that the 1/1 doesn't die, otherwise my Lovestruck Beast cannot attack. Our Thrun, less good now. Our Obosh might be useful if we can get to 5 mana. Twin Blade Geist with double strike, that's gonna hurt. Finding a land here is great. Ebon Legion gets to go out, and we can activate the Ebon Legion for 3, giving it Death Touch. That might be relevant here. I think none of these have Trample. I'm worried about them giving it Flying, but if I were to play, if I were to have Obosh out, that could be good. If they give it Flying anyway, I'm going to be in trouble, and otherwise I can just block. So I'll get an Obosh into my hand. No attackers from me here. We'll just kind of sit back and wait for them to try to Sigarda's me. Seems like a pivotal play coming up here. They just pass. That's interesting. I honestly would not have expected that. We'll put out a Gilded Goose here, represent 5 mana next turn, and then just kind of chill here with a Knight. I think we can't attack in because of Sigarda's Aid, so I will just go ahead and pass. Thrun might be the move. Invasion also might be the move. Elder Gargaroth also might be the move. We have so many 5-drops here. Do they just pass? Nope, they're going in with something. No, they just pass. Okay. Well, we have Obosh. We also have Thrun. I kind of wonder if I just want to do a Thrun now and then just have him start going in. What I think I do need to do first, though, is an Elder Gargaroth play, don't I? Because the reach might end up being necessary. Alright, Elder Gargaroth. There it is. We have a lot of power now. Eventually, Obosh will be a closer for us, but for right now, we don't need to bother. I'm expecting to just kind of get blown out of the water all in one turn. But our opponent thinks that they don't have it? I'm surprised with this outcome, to be quite honest. I would love to be able to see what my hand or what my opponent's hand had. I mean, they had 5 things. Presumably it was like Colossus Hammer, and then the deal was to just swing through on the ground eventually. But yeah, I guess we had enough important bodies that they didn't think that it was worth the time. Cool, that was our round 1. Let's move on to round 2. Alright, round 2. We have Brutal Cathars into Kaya's. We have the ability to cast most of the cards. Well, actually, with 1 land we can cast anything in our deck because Kaya's already in our hand. I kind of want to try it. I think if the Brutal Cathars don't work, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Seeing Mountain is a good sign for me, though. That signifies a lot of creature-based strategies that will be annoyed if I take something with Brutal Cathar. Okay, so we can just get a Gilded Goose out, see if they shock it. Okay, so they clearly do have some sort of play with fire effect. Sounds like Gilded Goose is dead. Ooh, Volcanic Spite. Interesting. I don't know what deck would be playing this. Well, I'm at least happy to get this food out. If this is going to be the aggro matchup that I think it is, then the 3 life might end up being relevant. They passed, though. So we will just let them do their thing. I don't need to do any such thing right now. I could have put Obosh into my hand. I might do it next turn. Racer's Ring. I don't know what we're going to be playing against. This could just be anything. I'm going to leave the food token here. I don't need to sack it yet. So what have they've shown damage-based removal so far. Do this, take Obosh. And the run seems pretty solid. Brutal Cathar I think is good. I think this is going to be some sort of big spell or like some big rule mid-range deck with like targeted removal for the smaller stuff. So this means Brutal Cathar comes out and deals with something, but then we'll probably end up dying. So I'm going to have to kind of play in such a way. Oh, land destruction, never mind. Alright. Well then if that's the case, maybe I just need to Brutal Cathar. Okay, put 2 to the top, and all of a sudden the fact that I'm drawing an absolute crap load of lands is a good thing. The question is, do I try to play a 3-drop? I think I just try to get to my 5 curve. Oh, okay. Sure. So this is just going to discount land destruction spells? Is that what this deck is? So they can almost rebel reading me again. Okay. Drop this out. Brutal Cathar, kill an oh my god. I can't even talk today. And then Narcomancer. Alright, what happens? Do they just kill Brutal Cathar already? Oh no. Alright, a Braid right off the bat. So now we start taking 4. They get to learn something. They might... We're gonna have to see what they take out of their sideboard. Okay. That's kind of cool. So a Narcomancer plus just a bunch of green value spells. So eventually Kaya is going to be great. If I draw another 3-mana spell, I'm going to play Brutal Cathar plus that. Otherwise it's going to be probably a Thrun. Okay, so the green here, Thrun, can't be countered, and all of their red-based removal can't deal with it. Alright, so he will sit in front of all these Anarchomancers. Next turn I have a Kaya. Sure. So next turn I don't have a Kaya anymore. I think I just probably play a Obosh and then just try to kill him with Thrun. And then one thing I need to make sure is to, in here, make sure to not auto-assign combat damage, because I want to be able to declare 1 to each one of these things, and then, oh well, it may not matter. Fashion success, okay. Well, it looks like we're not going to have Obosh next turn. That sucks. Let's put in a white mana now. Oh, we don't have the black to cast Obosh, I see. Well, there's a problem. So we will kill one of these things. And I think that I need to start dealing some damage to my opponent, so we will go in for 5. I'm not worried about my own life total. We lose Thrun. Oh, right. Non-green. Introduction to Annihilation. Can't hit it. Let's go. Stone Rains me, sure. And they can kill my Brutal Cathar. Can't be targeted. Yep. Alright, so we get the mana that we wanted. Okay, so Indotha Triumph as the land, Lovestruck Beast plus Lovestruck Beast. Swing in. They go to 10. They need this to be a card draw spell, otherwise they gotta start chump blocking. It is kind of what they needed. That does lock me out of some of the spells I want to be casting. Pay 2 life for this. Elder Gargaroth. And we are just putting some powerful things into play. The Elder Gargaroth is going to help us gain life. And this might be it for my opponent. Move to combat, we'll swing with the 2 5/5s. They need to block. So they'll get rid of the Love Strike Beast, sure. Go to 5. Alright, and we got him. Long one, and but we were able to deal with the land destruction. Sweet. On to round 3. Let's go. Round 3, let's get it. So we have a Knight and a Graveyard Trespasser, and then we have something to do in the 5 mana range. I think we can keep it. Thoughtseize. Do they take my Knight? It's either the Knight or the Graveyard Trespasser in my mind. They take the Knight. Okay, so we'll drop in the Triumph first. See if we can make it to playing a Graveyard Trespasser. If we're in a discard matchup, that's pretty solid for me because generally we're playing pretty good cards to top deck in any given situation. So I think they take our Graveyard Trespasser, and then we just have to resign to playing things on turn 5. So our opponents bought themselves a lot of time. That can enter tapped, and then we'll drop out an Urza's Silex eventually. Racketeer Boss. Interesting. Okay. Let's play an Urza's Silex. This will be a nice insurance policy to have on the board. Okay, so Treasure Tribal, huh? Cemetery Gatekeeper, okay. Pretty cool. Do I just Urza Silex right now? I mean, I'm looking at 7 damage, so that actually might even be what I want to do. For 2 more mana, I can search something up that's valuable, but I don't think I want to bother. So I won't be able to do that. We'll choose our lands, and then I just get to deal with all of my opponent's permanents. That was pretty good value from the Silex. And our opponent agrees. Wow. Okay, well, that was a quick game, but that did show the impact of Karn's Silex, so I will keep that in the video. That was our round 3. We got round 4 coming up. Let's hop in. Round 4 coming up. Let's go. We have the Kaya again, but Gilded Goose and Graveyard Trespasser seems pretty solid. Pay 2 life. Just make sure we get this out of our hand before it gets ripped out. That even means that we can get an early Graveyard Trespasser. Cordial Vampire. Whoa, it's a Vampire Tribal. I don't think I need to get a creature out this early. It's when things die. Sorin, okay. So they can sack the Cordial Vampire to deal something. Oh my god, is it going to be Galta? Galta and Maverin? Ah, okay. That's less cool than the deck that I like to play. Okay, so Graveyard Trespasser. Maybe we do want to get something out with that. Yeah, pop out the Trespasser. No trigger, but it's fine. And I'll pass. Don't need to use the Gilded Goose just yet. Bloodline Keeper, huh? This thing just rips out the creatures. Oh, man. This is a good card. Wow. I never played this in my Vampire deck, but I kind of want to now. Snap. So you can kill Graveyard Trespasser for the cost of a card. Another Sorin. Wow, that's amazing. What a cool little combo. The vampire combo deck that I played last time was just trying to get a Galta and Maven into play. But this is a cool way to do it. So Bloodline Keeper. I'm going to have to think about this one. Opponent going in for 3 mana. That's fine. The run is maybe good. But I can't play him yet. So 1. And I'll have 5 mana next turn. Might have to just jump with the Knight. Bloodline Keeper in the air is going to do me dirty. Another Death Touch Lifelinker. Yep, more creatures. Thorin could sack that too. Oh man, and now they get to swap. Oh wow, that's gnarly. Sack something. Kill something. Amazing. This is great. Sure, so I could make this bigger, I guess. That at least helps me slightly, and now I do have Death Touch. So now they can only attack for 12. Okay, so they will do it anyway. I will just probably do that. You're welcome to lifelink as much as you want. Oh my gosh, okay. Can I Doomscar? No, I need to foretell it first. And I believe that means that I am dead. We'll go ahead and pass here, let our opponent do their thing. Wow, the absolute combo of Cordial Vampire. This thing is pretty strong. I mean, it is from Modern Horizons. It is a provenly strong card. One of the, not really lords, but you could argue that this is even better than a lord. Pretty strong card. And Lord of Lineage plus Bloodline Keeper, really good card. I think that I might play this deck in the future. Look forward to it. Anyway, that was our round 4. We have one more to go here. Let's hop in and try to end on a win. Round 5, the final one. Here we go. We have a Doomscar here. This is probably the whole reason that this hand is keepable. Because otherwise the 5 mana curve doesn't really cut it. Opponent shocks in for an All-Seed. That is potentially scary. I'll have to decide if I want to foretell the Doomscar first or not. With the Core Spirit Dancer, that can get bad really quickly. I want to foretell the Doomscar. So, they go in for double Spirit Dancer, and do they play some Aura? Okay. I think I need to just nip their life gain in the bud. Alright, wipe the board. That gets rid of 3 of their things plus 1 enchantment. I think that's some pretty good value. Now I'll start deploying my things to the board. And they have Aluris, okay. I can't kill Aluris, sadly. So this is definitely going to show that having targeted removal is pretty valuable. We'll put a Goose out, get a Urza Silex on the board, and let our opponent know that if they'd like to commit to their board, it might not be for very long. That does let them know, like, this is kind of a forecasted play, so they kind of know what's going to happen, and they will try to play around Urza Silex. So if I were them, I might be casting, like, one of the Core Spirit Dancers, but we'll see. Then Urza Silex does hit the battle, if I understand correctly. Yeah, just all other permanents. okay. And it is just a destroy, so Thrun will make it through. I mean, this seems like a pretty good hand to just destroy everything from. Block there. Save myself some life. And this will just kind of depend on if we draw land now or not, what we do. Alright. They're kind of committing pretty hard into this. Well, we'll activate that. I will define the search. Alright. Let's see what happens next. Another Chorus Spirit Dancer comes out. I believe that is the third. And Hateful Eidolon. Ooh. Ooh, Hateful Eidolons. Those are going to be annoying. By his Ghost form. So what I probably want to do is avoid playing the Evolved Sleeper here. Yeah, it costs at least 3 mana to evade any other spells. So I'll probably just try to get out a Lovestruck Beast. Gotta play these big creatures. Now, I wonder if Hateful Eidolon is supposed to just be what's on Chorus Spirit Dancer. Maybe that's the case. So maybe they don't have the things that are going to kill my guys. Let's go ahead and get a Lovestruck Beast out. If I need to take 5 here, that could be okay, because then I can start blocking the Spirit Dancer with another Beast or with a Obosh. Not really in any position to attack, so I can just front block. Brutal Cathar hits Chorus Spirit Dancer, that's so good. So that means that I can rationalize just putting out some blockers and then trying to hit the Chorus Spirit Dancer when it gets big. Alright, that means we get to play another Lovestruck Beast. Now we can block their Chorus Spirit Dancer, so they're going to spend some time making it big, and then we can eventually Brutal Cathar it. They have 39 cards. 12, 14, sure. They give it lifelink. That sucks, and I don't like to see that, but fine. So they're just going to go ham with this Chorus Spirit Dancer. Hateful Eidolon triggers on dies, so that's going to be amazing. But now they have so much life, and we have to get around that. Ooh, now that Alseid gives it protection, that sucks. And it really sucks because we're dead. No, we're not dead. Okay, so I can block. And now I can actually remove it. Wow, they should have kept the Alseid around, I think. Just kept attacking in. So now I can Brutal Cathar. Yeah, that's tough for them. So, of course, Spirit Dancer pops out. I get my Evolved Sleeper. And now I can swing in twice. We have 2 colors of things for Chorus Spirit Dancer to not be able to get through. And now I get to start dealing with my opponent's life total. Invasion of Tevalda, does that do anything? It does not. They have their Lurrus again, and now things just kind of get nutty again. They can put another Kaya's Ghost form, and in All That Glitters. Yep, yep, yep. Be nice if I could find my next land. Evolved Sleeper can get its plus counters on, or its counters on it. It's evolved things. If they can give the Spirit Dancer flying or protection, then I'm not in a good situation. Alright, they go in. We probably just put the Brutal Cathar in front. That maybe wasn't smart. Pay 2 life to run. Cool. Then I think we probably just don't bother attacking, given that everything will die to Spirit Dancer. Now my Invasion of Tvalda does get back Brutal Cathar. Oh man, Light Pause also needs to go away. Also, so does Luris. Sort of just need to draw into an answer. Yikes. Oh no, now they have flying. That's it. Alright, now we're dead. Dang. Okay, so Bogles is going to finally take us out. I think this was kind of a cool deck. The Hateful Eidolon is a different approach on this deck that I don't necessarily agree with. They are kind of combining it with the Myers Grasp type of thing, but I honestly think that the Bogles deck is better when you're just enchanting your own stuff. Anyway, I'm going to let our opponent finish this one out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this showing of our Abzan mid-range deck. It was kind of a fun one. I think that there were a lot of good parts for it. When it works, it worked. And then, you know, the restriction of having only one or only every other mana slot available is definitely pretty crippling. And you kind of saw that today. Like, we got stuck before we hit 5. Sometimes those second and fourth turns don't feel very good. But, hey, you know, this channel is all about showing you guys all the different ways to play Magic, even the ones that are not super optimal. I think that the upsides of this one still made it fun, though. So, anyway, with that being said, that is the final game for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, drop a like on the video. It helps me out a lot. And if you are new here and want to see some more Magic content, specifically for Arena Historic and sometimes some other stuff, drop a subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out and have a good one. I'll see you later.